Welcome to Fantasy Football 101 on Sports Radio 1450 and on the web at sportsradio1450.com. I'm Adam Stark alongside Mark Graham and Nick Orelli taking your phone calls this morning at 529-1450, talking everything fantasy football. And for a lot of leagues, it's playoff time, so a very, very important week. We'll run through the injuries. We'll talk about who to play, who to sit, and even who to pick up, because this time of year, there's some guys available, and you might want to fill those slots and maybe double up on a position or two just to be safe for playoff time. I know I certainly did that. Mark, we were talking about that off the air, and we were talking about that via Facebook the other day, too. I picked up Joe Flacco just because of the injury to Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan questionable this week. Joe Flacco, a good matchup against Detroit, and I think I'm going to pencil him in there, not based on the way he's been playing as of late, but based on the matchup.
That's exactly what you have to do this week. If you're into the playoffs, this was the week that you did some serious searching on the waiver wire. I mean, there were a number of guys that were good to pick up who you wouldn't have normally played, but I tell you what, some of these teams are going to start resting some players, especially the Colts are going to start resting players, and you've got to have decent backups. And like you said, Adam, you have to look at the matchups. The last couple, 3 weeks in your playoff weeks, you've got to do it.
Not only the Colts clinched a playoff berth, but they also have a number of injuries to deal with anyway, so they're definitely gonna rest some guys and get some other guys some playing time there. So you have to keep an eye on some of the Colts. Who are some of the other guys that you thought about picking up, though, Mark, that you saw on the waiver wire? I saw Kenny Britt get picked up in numerous leagues.
Oh yeah.
Who else was out there?
The hot guy is Quentin Ganther, running back Washington. Rock Cartwright wasn't getting the job done according to the head coach. So
there he is.
He's made it. So
he didn't live to the hype that we gave him on this show.
but Ganther's an outstanding pickup right now. He over the last 2 games has averaged 6 yards a carry, and the Zorn and the coaching staff are going to play him quite a bit. Antonio Bryant's been available because he hadn't really done anything the first about 10 weeks of the season, and he's making his late season push. Chris Brown, another guy with Steve Slate now on the IR. Chris Brown will get a good amount of carries, especially at the goal line. Ryan Moats will get some carries for Houston as well. As you mentioned, Britt, Devin Thomas, another wide receiver from Washington, went off last week. Great upside, good receiver, and is developing a really good relationship with Jason Campbell, and he's been available. I checked in a couple other friends of mine who are in leagues, and they said he was still available in a couple leagues. Fred Davis, a guy who a lot of people may have never heard of, a tight end from Washington, is really coming on, replacing Chris Cooley. He had 9 looks last week and scored. And I tell you what, if you're in need of a tight end, especially if you're a Dallas Clark owner, and Clark will not play, I'll guarantee you, almost the last week or two, Fred Davis is someone you've got to get. And someone we talked about off the air, Garrett Hartley. A lot of John Carney owners didn't realize that New Orleans decided that they were going to go with Hartley at kicker.
Yeah, didn't get the memo on that.
No one.
I had him in my other league. I had him playing in our other league. Fortunately, I still won, but definitely didn't get any points out of my kicker.
I tell you what, you guys who are playing, you've got to watch it. For whatever reason, it seems like, and Eric, you may attest to this, the last couple of weeks, there have been a lot of last 10 or 15-minute yankings of players or something that, I mean, some people don't catch. And I tell you what, this is invaluable. You miss these 6-7 points that some of these kickers or tight ends get, and you're done.
Well, you know what hurt me last week? How you guys doing, by the way?
Wonderful. Hey, by the way, you smell lovely.
Don't I? I had to, man. I'm ill. I had to spray on some cologne. I didn't want you guys to smell the sick.
All right.
Last week, it didn't matter. I would have lost anyway, but still, leading up to the game, the whole time it was saying for Atlanta that Snelling was going to get the start.
Right.
Over Michael Turner and Norwood. So, but then when game time rolls around, they pull the switcheroo. Norwood's the starter. I have Snelling in, and I'm not at
Brutal.
home. Either way, they were both really bad, so it didn't matter. Lucky me. I'm not in the playoffs in any of my 3 leagues, guys.
Well, that's what you didn't give me time to say. I don't know if you're sick of being sick or sick of losing. I didn't know what the deal was. So what's the situation this week in Atlanta? Michael Turner's still questionable, and as we heard from ESPN Radio, unlikely to play, actually, and then it's a toss-up against Snelling.
You never know. You never know.
You don't with the Atlanta situation. You flip a coin, and then you hope, and you listen to by 11:58 in the morning Sunday. Hopefully someone will tell you something, but otherwise it's a muddled situation in Atlanta.
Just stay away.
Yeah.
Aside from that first week when Turner went down and Norwood wasn't back, Snelling was a good play, but ever since Norwood's come back and Michael Turner's been flirting with the idea of playing, they haven't had a solid guy you could plug in for fantasy, and I know because I've tried all of them. And they just haven't had one. Not one guy has stepped up and had a good week. Now, they pretty much split up the carries between Norwood and Snelling last week, and they both had okay days, but nobody did anything big. So I'd stay away from the Atlanta running game.
They've almost turned